And we are on to the Rift for game number one between Sensei Squad and Zeal White. On the blue side for Sensei Squad, Nick Laws in the top lane on the Gwen, Aquatic Bear in the jungle on Trundle, Veneris on Syndra in the mid lane, and Matrix Shadow, and you know the kid rounding out the bottom lane with the Zeri and the Thresh.
And over on the other side, we do have Zeal White. We got Devious Lisk in the top lane on the Malphite. Kappa 1 has the Lilia in the jungle. I win with the Orianna in the mid lane. We got Yahabe with the Samira, patented Samira pick in the bot lane. And then Xylandis rounding it out with the Nautilus. And as we get into it, pretty safe level 1 starts here. Doesn't look like we have any deep warding so far.
Yeah, just taking a look at the summoner spells here, both solo laners opting for the teleport on both sides. So all four solo laners taking teleport there. So I do expect to see a lot of map play in this game. It should be very interesting to see, how effective they can be with those teleports.
Yeah, and talking about Sensei squad coming into this match, as I mentioned, we haven't seen them other than that one showing was a loss to DNX in the lock-in tournament. But DNX we definitely think of as one of the better teams in this league, and we also know that you know, one game series don't really mean all that much. So I think for Sensei Squad here, this is really a chance for them to come out and show these CCS fans watching who they are as a team and what they can really do. So excited to see that. I definitely think that they're set up, especially on the top side of the map, to have the stronger, not only laners, but also jungler to support those laners. So they should be able to get ahead in this early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Both junglers starting on their blue buffs. Going to be making their way onto opposite sides of the map here. And it's just some scrapping going on in the mid lane. Damage coming through from both of these mid laners. And a little stun comes through, traded back pretty well. And early level 2 is going to come through in this bottom lane here. One more minion for both of these sides. And I expect to see some action as Hook's going to land onto one. But the level 2 is proper for Sensei Squad. Heals coming out early as the exhaust comes down onto Matrix Shadow. You know the kid very, very low, but we'll use the flash to get out for the time being and keeps their life.
Yeah, so it is 2 summoners for 2, but the advantage does, in my opinion, go slightly over to Zeal White just because the flash was blown on the kid. A little bit faster for those exhausted ignites to come back. And, just to touch on that summoner spell choice by Yahabe in particular there, picking up the exhaust, which definitely makes sense specifically in this Zeri matchup. We know that Zeri, as we are going to see a gank.
Aquatic Bear in this bottom lane here as the Trundle Pillar will block out the dredge line from Xylandis and force the flash from the Nautilus. So very, very nice placement there by Aquatic Bear, and that's going to mean no flash for the Zeal White support.
Yeah, and whether or not it was intentional, I just like to assume that it was. I suppose that was a beautiful pillar from Aquatic Bear, not only getting the matchup knock up, but also blocking the dread line. So just showing some impressive mechanics on that particular champion. But just going back a little bit to what I was saying, the exhaust definitely a very particularly nice choice to take against the Zeri. And with those level 1 to 2 fights, I've noticed that Zeri is a champion that's definitely really strong in this meta right now, but usually takes a little bit to power up, needs a couple of items. I mean, I know, Rychains, that you're an ADC main. Do you have any perspective on that early game power of Zeri?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Zeri does really need to scale up. And it's very interesting to see, that the Samir Nautilus is actually losing this lane. And pretty much you can just count that to them not getting level 2 first. And having to burn the flash. Obviously, of course, the jungle pressure is going to do a lot there, but I would expect the Samir Nautilus to just kind of roll over, at least until like level 3.
Yeah, Nautilus especially, just, such a powerful champion, especially early on, just bringing a really surprising amount of damage for being that kind of tanky engaged support, and just, honestly, really, really easy to hit his skill shot. So I would agree with you, but definitely still time for Kappa 1 to possibly make his way down into the bottom lane as well to make a difference. And kind of as we expected, Nick Lulz up here in the top lane, definitely laying some hurt down onto Devious Lisk, who has been able to keep up and farm fairly well, I would say, as the Malphite, but HP continuing to drop. And, it's really only a matter of time until Gwen gets to the point where she can pretty much one rotation kill this Malphite before he's able to pick up some magic resist.
Yeah, and even, even when Devious is going to be able to pick up magic, it's still going to feel really awkward just because you don't really want to build it that much on the Malphite.
Right.
You can see now early Dragon started up by Sensei squad here. With this mid lane push in from Veneris, this should be pretty free as neither of the lanes can respond. So an early dragon is going to be going over to Sensei squad, and that's going to be the Hex tech.
Yeah, and Kappa 1 certainly has plenty of time to turn it around, but this is part of the reason that I was a little bit surprised to see this Lilia pick is, really right now to me, Trundle is one of the absolute premier junglers because he kind of does it all, not only in the early game, but also later on. He clears the jungle really quickly, great ganking pressure with the pillar, as we saw earlier, as a nice stun there in the mid lane, but also able to do things like take those dragons, which is something that Lilia just can't really match. We see Kappa 1 is up in farm, so does have a few more resources to his name, but still, pretty much even in levels, and yet to really have an impact on this one so far. But is venturing down into the mid lane here.
Yeah, Veneris could be in trouble here. Scout is gonna land, but no mana. Unleash power. Oh, 1 HP, and I win will walk out with their life for the time being. As Kappa 1 shows their face in the mid lane, but Nicola is looking for the solo kill here. The ultimate is available. We could have seen some scissors snipping. But Devious Lisk for the time being is okay. Does have the Unstoppable Force, and you're going to go in under the tower. Ignite will find first blood for Nicholas, but the tower is not enough damage to take him down.
Yeah, and so meanwhile, we saw it looked like maybe a possible attempt to go on to Veneris there in the mid lane. Looks like possibly was forced to burn Flash as Aquatic Bear.
Oh, this is pretty bad for Kappa 1 here. Is going to get the movement speed, try to jump out, but the pillar is going to bring the deer back. Flash forward with the hook is going to connect from the kid, and Aquatic Bear is going to find the kill.
And again, Aquatic Bear showing us that it must not have been just a chance in that first gank when he had that perfect placement of the pillar. You notice how that time he waited for Lilia to use her dash, away, just waiting that one out, and then again using the pillar to be able to interrupt that, in addition to be able to get in there and get that gap close going on. So just really nice play from Aquatic Bear so far on this champion. And just showing exactly what I just said earlier, which is that Trundle is really the better jungler early on in this matchup, and definitely in the top lane, kind of a little disappointing to see there for Devious Lisk, not using his ultimate to try to get away from the Gwen. Must have just thought that he was dead either way. As I win, getting a little low again there in the mid lane.
Oh, this looks really bad here for Devious Lisk because the ultimate's going to come out from Nick Laws as the needles are coming out. One more should be enough, and that's going to be a solo kill, another one for Nick Laws in the top lane.
Yeah, and so again, you just have to question it, right? Because, Nick Lulz obviously has the upper hand in this matchup, but in the world where he isn't able to pick up that full kill gold after that first dive under the turret, maybe he doesn't, have the damage as I win.
Fight the mid lane, I win 1 HP, but the Q will land from Syndra. Now Drowsy's going to come through, but the lantern is proper from the kid and will save Veneris.
Yeah, and so, I mean, yet again, just another solo laner, this time the other one. I win in the mid lane just with, a flash that kind of has me scratching my head a little bit. Almost got away, I suppose, from the Syndra, but Veneris able to get off that last Q, and just maybe a little bit of sloppy mechanics so far from these solo laners of Zeal White. Like I said, definitely kind of the team that a lot of people looked at to come in and win this series, and, certainly we're only 8 minutes in so far, but it is, going to be 4 kills to 0 and about a 2K lead early on from Sensei squad. So doing what they want to do with this team composition, picking up an early game jungler, as well as some of these bullies in the solo lane matchups as well.
Yeah, and just taking a look at the game state, you already talked about the macro game, but looking at the micro game, 30 CS lead for Nick in this top lane, 20 CS lead for Kappa in the jungle. In the mid lane, about a 2-wave lead for Neris on the Syndra. And then in the bottom lane, about a 20 CS lead for Yeheb. And now Matrix could be in trouble here, but the reinforcements are here. The flash will force out Xylandis' flash as the death sentence not going to find its mark. For the time being, flash is blown from 2 in this bottom lane. But the dragon spawning in 40 seconds. Here you go. We're going to see as the depth charge comes in. Yeheb, nice play coming through, but this should just be a lot of damage coming. Exhaust is going to be onto Matrix, and they will find a kill onto Yeheb. And now the kid and Matrix are running down Xylandis, and Xylandis has nowhere to run. As the kid is going to find the credit for that one, and this bottom lane wave will be pushed in. The Rift Herald is in Aquatic Bear's inventory, and they're going to be getting some plates here, and this dragon likely.
Oh, and Yahave and Zylandis, you know that they want that one back, just so close. But I just do, I do have to question the decision to go for an all-in that situation. I know that you just blew the flash. Win maybe in trouble, but he's going to be able to survive. But you know that you blew the flash from the Zeri, so I kind of understand the logic there, still having the exhaust up and all of that. But they know that Aquatic Bear is still on that side of the map, so the best case scenario is that they're able to win in the 2v2, and then probably they're going to get run down by Aquatic Bear anyways. But instead they end up losing, and then as you mentioned, right, Chains, perfect opportunity for Aquatic Bear to be able to drop the Rift Herald, and just being able to bail Zeri out of that lane is just so important because, yes, they won that 2v2, but as you had just pointed out, Right Chains is down about 30 CS.
But Neris almost finding solo kill here, but now could be in trouble as two have roamed up into this mid lane. Nick is here though, as they're going to look for this 2v2 as Kappa 1 is taking rid of, but the Dredge line is going to find onto Veneris. Scout of the Week is going to stun up Silence for the time being and just gets absolutely blown up by Nick. That is so much damage from this Gwen.
Yeah, Gwen just incredibly fed, looking like such a strong choice right now. Again, just really, really strong in these tank matchups. And it's one thing to pick the Malphite, early and then kind of be counterpicked.
Matrix jumping over the wall.
Yeah, look at that. And, big damage there. Oof. Just hitting those Qs really, really well. So impressive from Matrix to have that level of ability on this champion so far. But, they opted into this situation where the Gwen would have this favorable lane matchup.
Oh, Yahave taking one more Q. No, it's not there. And Matrix almost just finds a straight solo kill on Yahave, down 30 CS.
Yeah, the Trinity Force is done, right? So, the references that we made to this early game Zeri being a little bit of weak. Sure, she is not scaled to her full potential, but she is now at that point where she does have that Trinity Force completed, and, the damage definitely starts to come online.
Hook's going to land onto Zylandis here, and this should just be some nice chunk onto this Nautilus. And you can see that mid lane tower. The second plate is about to go down, maybe on the next wave if they can push a wave into the tower. But for the time being, a 4,000 gold lead in favor of Sensei squad. And I don't think a lot of people were expecting this coming into the series.
Certainly I will admit that I was not either, but like I said, we just have had such limited looks at Sensei squad so far that it is hard to judge them. So not necessarily what we expected, but I'm not super surprised.
That set is gonna land, and the kid going crazy here on this Thresh. Yahave's gonna go down. Matrix under the tower we go, and a double kill comes through for the Zeri. But now Aquatic Bear going to sleep, and Unstoppable Force coming through, knock up onto one here, and Devious will find the kill, but in the bottom lane, Iwin goes down as Veneris going to find the solo kill there. Kappa 1 flashing under the tower, but the Q does not find the mark. There's a bowling ball, no! And Matrix and the kid get out by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, and so much expended there on the side of Zeal White just to take down Aquatic Bear.
Kappa could be in trouble here as Veneris full comboing onto him. But it's so much damage traded back actually from Kappa 1, and this should just be a kill going over a 500 gold shutdown to the Lilia, and that is not the most optimal situation here if you're Veneris giving over that gold bounty.
Yeah, and Veneris definitely just being a little bit greedy there in the enemy jungle. Obviously, would be great to have that blue buff, but just not a situation where you're able to contest that, and just a nice smite from Kappa 1 to be able to keep himself alive. But now, checking in on just some of the bigger cooldowns here, Deviously expended the teleport, expended the flash on the Malphite. Sure, his ultimate will be up again soon, but is going to be up in that top lane, mid lane right now.
In trouble in the middle of 3, and Aquatic Bear is going to get credit for that one here. And yeah, this bottom lane for Zeal White is having a tough time this game.
Yeah, and I think that, the mark of a good team, even at this level of amateur, is having some understanding of the way that you're going to shift your lanes around to match up later in the game. And I just don't know that that's something that Zeal White thought about very well coming into this, or something that they're executing very well. Just with Yahave coming into this mid lane, they're matching up with what they're seeing from Sensei squad, but just pushing way too forward. The Samira, of course, a ranged champion, but really low range, just disrespecting the side of Sensei squad by being that far pushed up, and getting punished for it. Now 0-3-0. Meanwhile, on the other side, this Zeri, sure, not as much farm, but 3 kills is going to make up for a lot of that gold.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't really see what happened there. I'm not sure if the W was actually up for Yeheb, but you know, the kid has been hitting a lot of these hooks onto Samira, which is a champion that you shouldn't really be getting hooked on, in my opinion. But now into the bottom lane here, Scatterweek's gonna land as the stun comes through. Unleash power will force the flash out of Iwin, and the blast cone is hit on accident, I believe, as one more Q should be enough. And now in the mid lane we go here as Devious taken really low and will go down. Yeheb in the front line's gonna get hooked up again and goes down. Aquatic Bear is swimming, finds 2 kills here, and the TP comes through now as Zylandis has to flash away, but the Scatter the Weak finds the stun anyway. Slow comes through here, and do they have enough damage to take down the Nautilus? It doesn't look like it, but Shelly is angry, charging in onto this inner tower in the mid lane, and they will not be able to find another charge, but they will find the tower in the mid lane and the top lane as well. So 2 more towers in the for Sensei squad. They want this inhibitor tower as well here. I don't suggest they should take the inhib yet, but it looks like they're gonna be hitting it, and no. Okay, they do opt to back out, which I think is the correct call there. You don't want to give Zeal White away back into this game, is now, you know, the kid getting run down, but the resources are there.
Absolutely, and they don't want to let Zeal White back into this game. They're very far ahead. They do have the ability to continue scaling and dominate these side lanes, so there's just no reason that they need to force that. I like seeing that little bit of discipline. But going back to the team fight that sort of caused this, we saw Zeal White being very aggressive in that circumstance. I don't think we saw it on the screen, but we did see Devious Lisk using the Malphite ultimate there to start off the engagement. Unfortunately, I win going down before he was even able to use the Orianna ultimate. So again, you know, this Malphite Orianna combination is very strong, but if you don't get all of it off, or if they're able to kite out of it, like Matrix Shadow was in that situation, it's just going to be all bad after the initial burst of damage. So seeing that is definitely a little disheartening for Zeal White at this point in the game, but once they can hopefully pair it with the Orianna ultimate, if Iwin can manage to stay alive, that would be great.
Dragon is up now, and this is a potential soul point for Sensei squad. I don't know how Zeal White expects to walk into this bottom lane river, because there is full control right now for Sensei squad. Right as I say that, they just waltz right in, which is a little bit interesting. But
they do have their ultimates up. It seems like maybe they're daring, or maybe Sensei squad is daring them to start it here, because that would be nice.
Yeah, they're also getting that mid lane pushed in, so they have the prio in that lane. They're kind of just putting Zeal White on a timer here, right? Sensei squad doesn't really have to do anything, but Zeal White has to kind of force something here. Hook's gonna land on it to Zylandis, and we'll see. You know, the kid in the front lines as Matrix is gonna go on a rampage here. Malphite ulti is on the go. It's not gonna hit anything, but Yeheb is spinning in the back lines. It is not enough damage as the double kill comes through for Veneris, and now Kappa 1 is the last member standing. But how long can you stand? The flashes will be used to stay alive here, and the third dragon of the game will go over to Sensei squad. Still under 18.5 minutes in, they're already on this soul point, and they're going to be pushing down this bottom lane.
Sensei squad just playing that fight just so well. You don't want to force a fight ever in League of Legends, but if there was a team composition that you are able to, you know, go towards the side of forcing it, it is against something like this Malphite Orianna, because we could see that Sensei squad was doing a great job of spreading out, making sure that Malphite would not be able to hit multiple members with that unstoppable force. And if you're the ones engaging on Zeal White, and Zeal White is forced to reactively use those ultimates from Malphite and Orianna, they're never going to be in a place where they are able to win the fight. And you pointed it out, right, Chains? I believe nobody got hit by that Malphite ultimate, and you're never going to have a good time in that circumstance.
It definitely makes it very hard when, you know, your main source of engage doesn't find any targets, especially when it's something as important as a Malphite ultimate. You know, it's almost an 11k gold lead in favor of Sensei squad here, as we just passed the 19-minute 20-second mark, and the Baron spawning in 30 seconds. You're on soul point in, you know, 3 minutes and 45, and this should be just a relatively easy game here for Sensei squad to close out.
Yeah, I think it should be very easy. I mean, they're just so far ahead. They have multiple options in terms of having champions in these side lanes. Like right now, we see Nick Law's down in the bot lane, and Devious Lisk is going to need some help from the team if he's going to be able to compete, or Baron is, and in that case, Baron's going to be given up. So kind of just trying to force the hand of Zeal White here with this split coming out from the Gwen, which is exactly the way that you want to play it. And then again, looking at I Win coming up as the Baron that looks like it's just going to be started. I Win on that Orianna can't even come up to the wave because they don't, they have a little bit of vision here, especially with Zylandis trying to come in and grab a little bit of additional vision, but it's just not enough for Orianna to feel secure and not be wrapped around on. But maybe trying to contest this Baron as Aquatic Bear has gotten a little bit low.
Health bars are very low as the teleport now comes through. This is going to be a fight in favor of Sensei squad if they want to take it. No, it looks like Devious also TP'd in here. So 5v5 in this topside river. The Baron has been stopped for the time being. Low health bars on the side of Sensei squad will force them back as they just didn't really have enough damage to sneak it effectively. If you had Nick Laws there, it's probably gone, but you do kind of need Nick to, be playing in that side, in that split, and, drawing pressure to the other side of the map. Killer is going to find one. Hook's going to land now onto Devious, and we are going in. Flay's going to land onto two, and Unstoppable Force is going to find one in the front lines. Only Gwen, though, as there's so much damage. This is a big sleep coming through, but then it is not enough here as a double kill comes through for Aquatic Bear, and I Win and Kappa are the only ones left alive, flashing to get to safety. And it is 2v4 in favor of Sensei squad, and they're turning their eyes back onto the Baron.
Yeah, they are going to go back onto this Baron. Their health bar is fairly low. I was going to say, I think a lot of the reason that they weren't able to take that Baron is they don't really have a true tank on this team. Thresh, the kid on Thresh now dead, but even with him alive, not really the biggest of tank supports, not even going to get as chonky as something like a Nautilus. So we are going to see Kappa 1 maybe trying to come over here. I mean, look at these health bars.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely doable if the steal, if you want to go for the steal here. Aquatic Bear is taking really low here, but Veneris just goes crazy and takes out I Win, and the Baron buff will go over to Sensei squad.
Yeah, Veneris just taking matters into his own hands as I Win trying to come over all the way around there. I'm kind of confused about why he didn't try to maybe just throw the ball over the wall or something like that, but just not going to be the choice made by I Win. And Veneris, we haven't really talked about how in this game the Syndra has been extremely dominant. Veneris has shown a pretty high level of performance on this particular champion, and I Win as one of the kind of central parts of this Wombo combo team composition has really pretty much disappointed so far in this game. We've seen him have a few mechanical errors here and there and just not really being able to compete.
Devious Lisk having to brand the Unstoppable Force has found himself in the middle of 4 members somehow. I'm not really sure how that happened, but either way, Sensei squad now going to be pushing in from this bottom side. And I do want to get your thoughts here. Do you think this game will end before 27 minutes?
I mean, I think it should. I think right now, hopefully, if you're Sensei squad, you probably, this is the moment I think to force a fight. Just when you have the Baron to be able, because if they're able to win a full 5v5, if they have at least 3 members left, they should just be able to run it down. But I guess making the decision here to back off to the Dragon, it makes sense as well. There's still a chance that it could be done before 27 minutes, though. With the Soul, any fight that they take should be in their favor.
Yeah, if the fights were not already in Sensei squad's favor here, this Infernal Soul that just has been picked up will turn the tides even further as they play 4-1 composition here. Nick Law's in this bottom lane, kind of like we suspected on the Gwen. 4-0-4. Super solid game here. As now we're going to get a fight. Hooks lands on Devious Lisk. 2-man play comes through, and I Win is in trouble. Going to go down already right off the bat. And Nicholas diving over the wall into Yehei, but you're spinning. But there is no winning going on here for Zeal White. Kappa, the last person left alive, will go golden as now Zylandis is in the area, but the Ignite is not enough damage to take him down here. And this should be the game. It's only Kappa 1 and Zylandis alive. And Kappa 1 is no HP. The Nexus towers are under siege here as niggas just tanking him up, no problem. One is down already. The next one to follow shortly, and onto the Nexus they go as Sensei squad takes game 1 in commanding fashion.
Yeah, Sensei squad just with a very dominant performance here in game 1, really outplaying Zeal White, not only on the level of, just 1v1 competition in these lanes, but just also the team composition to begin with. Not really not really the best. We already saw it last week from Team Death Realm as well. Just kind of these wombo combos not really working out super well here in the CCS so far. So I think if you're Zeal White, definitely wanting to go back and retool some things in the champion select. But I think, one of the parts of this game that surprised me the most, and to set it up for the next game, is Sensei squad making the choice to allow Yahib to have the Samira. That is the champion for this player. Talking about him earlier in the season, kind of being a one trick on this. So then when you come out and just dominate Yahib by using this Zeri pick, it sends a signal in the next champ select that, it kind of sets kind of a scary precedent in the next champ select for Zeal White, right? Because even when they're getting what they want, in terms of these bot lane picks, they're still getting dominated. So just going to have to come out with something really different next game and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, something has to change here for Zeal White, and hopefully in this post game, in this little rest period in between games 1 and 2, they're able to figure something out, come into game 2 with a better game plan, and we will see what happens here as Sensei Squad taking game 1 in quite commanding fashion. Will they be able to take it in 2-0 fashion? We shall see. But before that, we're going to take a short break and be back for the champion select for game number 2 between Sensei Squad and Zeal White. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back for the champion selective game number 2 between Zeal White and Sensei Squad. Sensei Squad taking game 1 in commanding fashion here, and we do have a side switch. So Zeal White will be on blue this time, and Sensei Squad will be on red.
Yeah, so the question here is, if you are Zeal White after that first game, which is obviously quite discouraging, what do you want to try to prioritize coming into this next game? If absent game one, I would say that they're looking to make sure Samira can get through and take it, just because this is something that we've seen as kind of a formula for this Zeal organization with Yehabe in the past. But given the context of the first game, where this Samira just fell absolutely flat, definitely going to look for Zeal White to prioritize something else. They only have the one real ban, again, because of their E-sub, so we'll see what they want to take away from Sensei Squad. This time, it is going to be the same thing, so just that Jinx ban once again. So bot lane not wanting to go against that one. I mean, certainly Jinx is one of the strongest ADs in this meta, but will be banned out. And then Sensei Squad, they are going to make a little bit of a swap here by banning the Zeri. So Zeal White here, it'll be interesting to see. Jhin is kind of the other biggest champion for Yehabe, so that's certainly something they could look to here. Otherwise, the Zac is the number one jungler I know for Kappa 1, was banned out last time by Sensei Squad, so maybe they prioritize the jungle first as we tick down.
It looks like they're just gonna go with the Samira again, and
Okay.
if you're Sensei Squad, you're fine with this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so, basically what that says to me is that Zeal White is saying, hey, it wasn't the Samira that was broken. It's just that it was against Zeri. Zeri is the super busted champion right now. And it was the matchup that was the problem, or maybe even just like kind of the way that they played out the game. So sort of just trying to stick to their guns here. And I mean, it is tough because you want to play your best champions, and we can criticize them kind of switching it or not switching it up rather, when it didn't work. But if you're a player that feels really confident in your ability on a specific champion, I can see why Yehabe would want to pick it up again. But Sensei Squad kind of going straight over to this Ashe as an answer definitely is an interesting one here for Matrix Shadow to grab this Ashe. It is something that he has some experience on with solo queue. Ashe, a pretty simple champion, but I guess just liking that matchup into the Samira definitely brings a little bit more range. And speaking of range, Victor, another sort of longer ranged carry champion. So really going with that theme so far from Sensei Squad.
Yeah, this Ashe is a very interesting pick here, but I think it makes sense, honestly. How is Samir going to get in if she's just perma slowed the entire time? It makes it really hard for Samir to actually play the game. Um, and, pairing it up with the Victor, you have a lot of pick potential with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's a gravity field, and then Victor can just one shot someone. But what stops one shots is getting revived here with the Zillion ultimate. So Zillion is going to be the second pick for Zeal White, and this could be mid or support. Not too sure yet, but either way, I kind of like this pick so far. I think it's very very fun to watch and fun to play.
Yeah, and when you kind of talk about the theme, as it look, Shen and Nar both hovered, they are going to go back to the Nar, but kind of the theme of this champions, like for Zeal White, of sticking to the guns of Samira, sticking with Yehabe, and Zillion really complements that well. As you mentioned, right, Chains, definitely it is a flex. I would expect it in this case to go for I win in the mid lane, who has picked this one up not only in the first week of CCS for this team, but also in his solo queue record as well, playing that one mid, and then Nar also for Devious List, definitely bringing some comfort as his most played solo queue champion. But with
Oh,
Aurelia picked up from
yeah.
Sensei Squad, that's definitely going to be Nick Lal saying, once again, you're not going to have an easy time in this top lane, and he's going to be fighting for every CS, every advantage there early in the lane phase.
Yeah, this could get really really rough for Nar if if the early two levels are played incorrectly here. This Aurelia can really just completely take over. And when you have Aurelia and Victor on the same team, it's very, very scary to be looking down at those two champions in the solo lanes on the enemy team.
Yeah, and it's Nar is something that we see as being very popular in competitive play, and I think part of the reason for that is we take for granted the fact that pros often are able to play these first few levels really, really safely and exactly correct against all-in sort of champions like the Aurelia. But once you get to a level of play kind of like this, not trying to insult any of these players or anything, but there's a little bit less there's a little bit less consistency in terms of being able to always outplay your opponents and play safe. Because theoretically, the Gnar should be able to have some bullying ability against this Aurelia, but that depends on not dying early, which Devious List did not prove himself capable of in the first game. So now after a couple of bans here, Silas is an interesting one because I'm pretty certain this Zillion's going to go mid. But also the Zac being banned out away is nice, and a continuing Sensei squad here with the Rakan pickup, continuing to prioritize that good jungle matchup for Aquatic Bear, who took advantage of it in game one. So might as well do it again in here in game two.
Yeah, Aquatic Bear played really, really well. I mean, to be honest, all of Sensei squad played pretty well in game one. Um, and I think it's fine to give counter pick here in this situation, just because this player played very well. Was able to impact the map all the way around and make their presence known and give their team a very, very significant early advantage. So I definitely like the game plan here by Sensei Squad going into this last pick here. But Nautilus is going to be paired up with Samir again in the bottom lane for Zeal White. So we're just getting a run back of that bottom lane. And then waiting on this last pick here, supposedly, or I mean, it's going to be the jungle. We'll see what they opt to go for. Jinzao Karthus have been hovered so far. Looks like Jinzao, no, Kindred is going to be the lock in here for Kappa 1.
Yeah, and that's something I noticed when I was looking at the solo queue kind of results here from Kappa One, is that this is a player who likes to play some picks that are a little bit off meta. We already mentioned the Zac, which has been banned out both games, but the Kindred is also one of the biggest ones for this player. Really likes to pick that one up. Obviously, Kindred does scale really, really well as kind of that AD carry in the jungle sort of role. So now with Gragas, interestingly enough, being the last pick here from Sensei Squad, Gragas is definitely something that is still viable in the jungle. Not as good as it used to be in terms of the ability to clear super quickly, but Gragas has always been, great in team fights, has this pretty strong ganking, especially when Flash is available for that body slam Flash kind of combination. So interesting for Sensei Squad to pick up a little bit of utility there in the jungle. We did see last time that Aquatic Bear was ganking a lot, and Gragas is definitely good for that as well. And now that I think of it, too, Rychain's Gragas specifically against the Kindred, having that displacement to be able to knock her off of her own ultimate is always going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and I kind of think that is pretty much the main reason why this champion was picked in the jungle, just to sort of disrupt on this Kindred ultimate. We had a little bit of I don't really know what happened here in champ select. It was an insta leave by Aquatic Bear. Um, so we should be getting back in order shortly, without any issues here. The players are getting back in; they're figuring it out. Um, and now we should be good to get into this champion select. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of better junglers in the pool right now than Gragas. I mean, Lee
Yeah,
Sin, like
I
Rek'Sai, Diana. There's just so many Graves. Like, there's so many good options that. I mean, I guess there's no true tank for Sensei Squad, but still, I don't think they need it. I think they're just gonna run over. Like their composition is just built to run over Zeal.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like when you're Sensei Squad, it kind of logically thinking about this Gragas pick, I think that you're doing it because of the fact that it's really good against the Kindred in that 1v1. Like I already mentioned, it is kind of a counter pick, but you pointed out, right, Chains, things like the Lee Sin still very prominent in this meta. Lee Sin also has that direct, counter displacement ability against the Kindred. So there were other options. So definitely interesting to see the Gragas picked up. We do see Gragas a lot still in this meta in the top lane, but just in the jungle, not necessarily as strong. But the meta in this kind of plat level elo can depend a little bit more on the player's individual ability to make champions work, even if they aren't necessarily relevant in the meta. So we'll just have to see how well Aquatic Bear can handle this one. And as we sort of go through this client champion select here. Aurelia is the big champion that I'm looking at early in the game. Nick Laws showed us with the Gwen that he isn't afraid to kind of make those dives early in the game and be really aggressive against Devious Lisk. It certainly paid off in game one, as that allowed them to kind of snowball to control the side lanes throughout the game. So I'm going to look for Nick Laws to be aggressive on this Aurelia early on, try to do the same thing. And on the other side, looking at Zeal White, hopefully Kappa 1 last game Kappa 1 was really inactive in the early game. This game I'd like to see Kappa 1 get a little bit more aggressive and try to bail out Devious Lisk if he's getting all in by Nick Laws early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the point you were saying, at the beginning, Kindred, I mean, Aurelia and Gwen are quite similar champions, I think. Um, they're both just like fighters that want to just scrap with you as much as possible in the top lane, and also, they're very, very prominent in the side lanes as you move forward into the game. So I think, we've already seen that Nick is able to play side lane very effectively, able to win lane. Of course, going into Malphite is a very, very favorable matchup, but I guess we're gonna really be able to see what Nick Laws can actually do.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said. This time, Devious List, he definitely has a chance, right? Like, I mean, you always have a chance, but Malphite is if he doesn't lose early, is certainly going to lose eventually against the Gwen. Whereas here, Gnar, if you are able to kite well in those first few levels, you can build an advantage. So just really putting both Nick Laws as well as Devious Lisk to the test. But speaking of hard losing solo lanes, I win had a really hard time during the last game going against that Syndra. This time it's against Veneris on the Victor. Victor was, I believe, in the second round banned out last time. So this time Veneris gets his hands on it. And Victor's a champion that I really like right now. Lots of wave clear, lots of ability to have that AoE damage and scales really well. But, Zilean also able to keep himself a little bit more safe oftentimes than Orianna with that speed up and also obviously his ultimate. So I win. My goal for him is you don't need to necessarily win this lane. I don't think you ever win this lane against Victor, but you just need to stay in it without getting sort of stomped in the 1v1 like last time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely some very good points there. Before we throw it to break, who you got for champ select in this one?
I mean, I guess this is a little bit of bandwagon jumping, but just with the amount of skill, the skill level just looked so not even last game. It looked like Zeal White was just absolutely outclassed. So unless Sensei Squad, comes out and makes a lot worse decisions than in their first game, I'm going to take Sensei Squad to be able to close it out.
All right, sounds good. You heard it here first. Let us know who you guys got for game number 2, and we'll see if Census Squad's able to close out or if Zeal White can push it to a game 3. We're gonna take a short break for the spectator delay, but we will be back shortly and onto the Rift for game number 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Da-da-da-da. Aw, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
And we are back onto the Rift for game number 2 between Sensei Squad and Zeal White. This time on the red side, Sensei Squad for Nicholas. I mean, in the top lane, Nicholas on the Aurelia, Aquatic Bear on Gragas in the jungle, Veneris on Victor in the mid lane, and Matrix Shadow. And you know the kid rounding out the bottom lane with Ashe and Rakan.
And on the blue side this time, we have Zeal White. We got Devious List up in the top lane on the Gnar. Kappa 1 taking the Kindred into the jungle. I win on the Zillion in the mid lane. And then Yahabe and Xylandis running it back with that Samira and Nautilus in the bottom. And as we get into this one, both teams looks like they're still going for that kind of defensive start early on and checking in on the items a little bit. Down in the bot lane right now, we do have this meta with, kind of a little bit of more of a sustain heavy start. Both games with Yahabe and Matrix Shadow matching each other with this longsword. So kind of interesting to see that. I think it definitely promotes a little bit more trading early on in these bot lanes, which is always exciting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I definitely think that this time, certainly the Zeal bot lane will win in these early levels here. Rakan and Ashe don't have too much, big damage in the early game. Unless you can, just hit a full Rakan W and you just kind of have Ashe free hitting for years. But certainly if a dredge line lands, it could be pretty devastating for the Sensei Squad bottom lane. So we'll see if this early, few levels goes a little bit better for Yahabe and Xylandis in this game.
Yeah, and I agree. And as for the support matchup, kind of like you already mentioned, Nautilus, I think we typically think of Nautilus as Nikolaw's doing great in this level 1, but as having the advantage against something like Rakan. But early on, already Matrix making nice use of that range, and we see a race to level 2 again here.
Early level 2 again for Sensei Squad, as the Knockup's not going to find the mark here, but Xylandis could be in trouble. Dredge line goes wide left, and everyone is okay for the time being.
Oh, and so there into the top lane, we do see Niklaw's missing that first flawless duet from Aurelia, and obviously anything can still happen in this lane, but those are the kind of sidesteps or the kind of dodges that, as I win, goes low. But those are the kind of things that Devious List is going to have to make happen if he wants to win this matchup. And like I already mentioned, Gnar is the most played for this player, so it does bring some comfort into the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see just the CS discrepancy already, and Nick is going to be able to get that cheater recall in after pushing the wave top. It's going to be, it's going to be pretty rough, I think, for the Gnar in this lane, especially because the wave's pushing back to Aurelia, and Nick is going to be able to freeze when they come back. So it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, and if you don't establish your dominance early as the Gnar here, you're just kind of always going to be on the back foot in this lane, just sort of, living at the mercy of this Aurelia flawless duet. If she's ever able to land that stun, you're pretty much going to be in a bad spot, especially if the Mega Gnar isn't available to, stun the Aurelia back or be able to knock her into the wall or anything like that. So definitely a little bit scary. And, we see Veneris here again, just really taking advantage of the range that this Victor brings and getting some nice bullying done early on in this matchup, as Zillion is obviously going to struggle to last hit under the turret here, as we already see I win missing multiple CS. But interesting freeze here down to the bottom lane. The kid tanking a lot of damage so that they can keep that wave in the right spot, but definitely makes sense with Matrix Shadow, especially on this immobile Ashe, not wanting to get caught out.
Yeah, and I think it'll be pretty good. Though I don't think that it can actually hold for that long, just due to the lane that they're playing against. I think that when the bottom lane from Zeal comes back, they should be able to break the freeze. But, we will see. At least for now, they have the priority and can move first up to this dragon that's spawning in 26 seconds. It will be the Infernal for the first dragon of the game. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Both junglers on this top side, bro, for now.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to contest probably for this scuttle, because it's the first run for the Kindred here to be able to get that mark. And so she is able to pick it up. So you do have to give credit there to I win, as Gragas looking for a gank, Aquatic Bear, but he is just going to get spotted on the ward. So, but nice job by iWin to be able to push up the lane in that situation to make sure he had priority over the river, and also ensure that Kindred's able to pick up that first mark, because obviously that is a huge part of what makes this champion strong, is being able to pick those up. So securing that one first here, and look at this huge wave about to crash onto the top lane. Looks like Devious List will be able to pick it up. I don't think that there's a dive threat there from Nick Laws. I think I would have liked to see maybe Aquatic Bear stick up there to try to threaten for that dive and deny that wave, but that's not the case. So there is a deep ward though that's able to be placed down by Nick Laws, so they should be able to track this Kindred pretty well. And Kappa 1, just like last game, really not having a big impact early on.
Yeah, just going back to your point, I definitely would have wanted to see a dive there onto that Gnar. I mean, it's mini Gnar, level 5. Like, what can the Gnar really do there? They're just, you basically just have to die and lose a massive double stacked wave. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but, they're playing it safe, playing it more safe than sorry. So, I mean, you can't really knock them too much for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And I mean, we're talking about as Aurelia hits level 6, which is pretty crucial here, but we're talking about something
going in here as the stun's gonna land. We'll see if there's much damage to follow through, but it looks like just a trade for the time being.
Yeah, the wave is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about like, kind of some macro moves that are pretty high level to execute, right? Because like as a jungler, of course, you should be tracking these waves, but also trying to keep up and farm. So, something that, especially from a team like Sensei Squad, not fully knowing the history of this team, but first season at least in the CCS, so only room to grow with things like that. But we do see Kindred maybe trying to wrap around here in the bottom lane.
There we go. Zyland is going to flash get through onto Matrix here, and we'll see. Knockup's going to find one member, but Matrix is just taking really, really low as the Ignite's taking down the first blood. Gonna go over to Kappa 1, and now the kid is next on the menu. Yahave is gonna pick up that kill. An early double kill coming through for the side of Zeal White, and this is a good sign if you're a Zeal White fan.
Yeah, the gold going into all the right places there, with one of the kills going on to Yahave and the other one going on to Kappa 1, but mid lane.
iWin could be in trouble. Here's Aquatic Bear says, hey, you're not gonna show me up. I'm gonna get one kill back in this mid lane, and now Devious List and Nick Laws are going at it. The Mega Gnar is used up. Nice dodge out from that W stun. And on the other side of the map, the dragon is being secured by Zeal White. Now we're going to get a fight here. Grand Entrance is flashed away by Kappa 1, but now Matrix coming over the wall here. The Mega Ignite taking down onto Zylandis, and Matrix will find the kill there. And now Veneris chasing down Kappa 1, but the Zillion ultimate is there. Oh, a 3-man stun from iWin is going to repel any further aggression from Sensei Squad, but able to get 2 kills back here in the cask is not going to do enough, just barely, not enough damage here. And now Yahave is looking for more. They have the spin. Death Blossom coming through here as he goes in, but the damage is too much from Victor. On the other side, the bomb's going to explode and take down the kid, and now it's iWin trying to chase off the 3 members of Sensei Squad that have stayed in this bottom side. Looks like for now, the score remains 3-3.
Yeah, and totally tied in gold too. So, Zeal White just seeing those low health bars, really wanting to go in. It's not over.
Oof.
No.
Yeah, Aquatic Bear flashing away from the Zylandis hook. And this has been a lot of, at least more action than we saw in game 1.
Yeah, and I like to see that, Kappa 1 finally getting a gank off into this bottom lane, getting the gold in the right places, which we already started to mention, but it kind of seemed like last game Zeal White let Sensei Squad be the determiners of their own of their fate. They just kind of waited back. They slowly sort of lost the lanes.
Yeah, going in here. Trying to get that passive stacked up. His ultimate comes through, and the spinning is just enough. Looking for the 1v2, autoing the minion for fun. But it doesn't matter because a double kill comes through, and that's a 1v2 for Yahave.
And Yahave just coming through and showing us why it is worth this priority on this man's Samira pick, being able to get the straight up 1v2. I mean, you probably heard me when he jumped in. It looks like he's just going for some kind of suicide play, but not so. Just knowing the matchup with this Ashe, knowing exactly sort of the limits of what this Samira can do, and that's the sort of thing that is gonna win your team these sort of series where you're already so far down. And
Kappa 1 could be in trouble here as a Predator pop from Aquatic Bear, and almost just one-shots The Kindred, interestingly enough, though, the ultimates are layered incorrectly by Iwin and Kappa One. They both use their ultimates at the same time, so that's going to be wasted ultimates from both of them. And with that being said, the mid and the jungle pushed out towards Zeal. It's going to be a Rift Herald for Sensei.
Yeah, so not very encouraging for what we're expecting for later in the game to see that incorrect layering of the ultimates, as you pointed out. But at the end of the day, they are just going to lose the Rift Herald for it, so they are able to keep everyone alive, and they're going to try to fight.
Oh, they're trying to get it, though, as it does get picked up by Aquatic Bear. And this could be a nice turn from Sensei Squad if they opt to go for it here. But it looks like they don't really have that good of an angle. So they're just going to back out, take their win with the Rift Herald, and reset, spend their gold.
Yeah, and all of the damage for, or so much of the damage for Sensei Squad in that situation is dependent on Zillion hitting that double bomb. So when he's not able to do that, as the hook does go wide there, it means that they're not really going to have enough to be able to finish off the Aurelia, especially who has so much sustain.
Xylandus is just going to get knocked up for a century. An Aquatic Bear is going to go on a killing spree. Now 3-0 on this Dragus. Does have that lost chapter picked up here. Devious and Nick going at it yet again. Seems to be the theme of this game. They're just scrapping the entire time. But the advantage is to Nick right now. 17 CS up. Maybe a play comes through in this bottom lane. Aquatic Bear is going to jump over the wall with the blast cone. Yahib and Kappa are waiting. But the body slam will just be used to get to safety for the time being. Matrix trying to push in this mid wave and pressure the tower, but Aquatic Bear is has a lot of gold in the inventory. If I imagine only 900, only 1,000, but
yeah. And here comes Kappa One.
Edgeline, nice shot by Xylandus here, and Kappa One is gonna find a kill on the Matrix, and a little bit of an overstay there by the Sensei Squad bottom lane. It's not something that you want to see.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was Yahab or Xylandus, but, they seem to kind of call it out with a ping, right? We saw Kappa One starting to channel the recall, and then we saw those assistance pings coming into the bot lane, kind of saying, hey, they're overstepping here. They're really being greedy, and this is an opportunity for us. And this Nautilus, obviously, so good, so strong at nailing down, especially these immobile targets like the Ashe. And so if they're even one bit out of position without their jungler there to assist, Sensei Squad is going to end up losing that one every single time. And it is just more gold going over to the side of this Kindred and Samira duo, which if used properly, should be able to be kept alive for a really long time between the Zillion ultimate as in combination with the Kindred ultimate as well. So having these two really strong AD carries is going to be absolutely critical for Zeal White's plan to win this game. And, checking in on some of our early game expectations. Oh, as Xylandus is going to go clear that ward. But checking in on our expectations, looking at the top lane, yes, there's a little bit of a CS lead, as Devious List might be cursed by me.
Predator pops as Aquatic Bear. Not going to find the Everfrost. Cask is available, as well as the Herald. So they might try to just break this tower, at least get some gold on this Aurelia.
Yeah, and it also the scuttle though is going to be contested for sure.
Here we go. Numbers advantage so far in favor of Zeal White as the Ignite's going to take down Death Charge. It's going to knock up Aquatic Bear, and now has to flash away to safety. Will stay alive just barely, very, very low, and now Veneris could be in trouble here as the quickness comes through. Knockups onto one as Iwin has to burn that ultimate as the Ignite is picking down. Will go down here, but look at Nick on the other side of the fight. Ultimate is not going to land, but the Genesis arrow finds the mark on 2-1. Devious could be in trouble. He's knocked up as Veneris is going to find the kill there, and that's really, really good if you are Sensei Squad, getting a kill on this Victor and sort of fast-forwarding that scaling.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it is just going to be one kill here for Sensei Squad, but Kappa One notably is able to pick up the mark in the Scuttle Crab. And Aquatic Bear, though, he is forced to drop this Rift Herald. I believe that it was probably going to expire really soon, so it doesn't have much of a choice as he's recalling. And for Iwin, looks like it probably should get a charge off here onto the turret.
The kid Yahab gonna meet up in this bottom lane river here. Grand entrance will burn the flash out, but the flash comes through from Xylandus now. A little bit of a flash auto into 3 members. It just decides, it's probably better for me to just back out here. Michelle's gonna get that mid lane charge.
Yeah, definitely calling his support back in that instance. Not only because that Matrix Shadow was coming up to join as well, but you also got that Rift Herald in the mid lane that, if left unchecked, will obviously will take down that turret very quickly. So not wanting to take that fight, which makes sense for Yehey, but having the flash down on the Samira, Samira does have some ability to be mobile, especially as far as AD carries go, but that's going to be a pretty big cooldown to have that one not be available, especially for the kid having pretty good opportunity to engage alongside Aquatic Bear as well. So definitely want to keep a timer on that one if you're Sensei squad. And with the mid lane already going pretty low, Victor has been doing a really good job pressuring the solo lane, and the kid may be looking for a dive. Arrow coming.
In trouble. Oh my lord! Here as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does find the mark, and they're gonna get a kill. But in the top lane, to go. Here's the cast. Gonna bring Devious back out from under that tower. As Aquatic Bear will get traded back, and it's a 1-for-1. But the shutdown goes over to Devious there, getting that big shutdown. 600 gold.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're gonna dive you with the enemy jungler, really the best that you can do is try to go 1-for-1 there. So got to give credit there to Devious Lisk, who again, has just performed better in this game in the 1v1 matchup. He is getting beaten against this Aurelia, which we somewhat did expect to happen, just because of the power that this champion does bring, but doing better than before, being able to survive, and a similar story in the mid lane too. So, as the first turret goes down, we are seeing Sensei squad have, about a 1.5k gold lead here, but definitely much more salvageable than what we saw in game 1 for Zeal White.
Yeah, and I do want to just mention here, the Victor has gotten to that second evolution on the Hex Core, so that's another thing to just keep an eye out here. Only 100 more stacks till Veneris is fully stacked up on that with that passive, and that's a very, very important stat to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it is, especially because of the way that Victor can just kind of indefinitely stall out games.
Here we go, Yehib going in, but a nice job to cancel out on the ultimate from the kid. Very, very nice usage of that Grand Entrance to knock up Yehib and cancel the spin. So very, very nice job there, and that's gonna be Yehib going down in a little bit of an over-aggressive play.
Yeah, an Aquatic Bear in the right place at the right time, but also if you're Yeheb, even though you were able to go 1v2 before, you can't do that without knowing with certainty where the enemy jungler is at that time. So just getting punished for that poor decision making, and 2 dragons have already gone in the favor of Zeal White this time. Last time around, obviously, it was Sensei squad having a lot of control over that. So with this dragon about to spawn, Zeal White would definitely like to put that pressure on, but they are going to get that control over the mid lane, similar to what we saw again from Sensei squad in the last game, and there's probably going to be an impending fight happening.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to get a big fight here as the dragon is started up by Sensei squad. They're walking in here, but that's a pretty nice engage coming through. A 3-man charm into the flash ultimate from Aurelia, but the depth charge is huge. The kid is taking really ill, but Nyx into the back lines. There's so much damage, and the kid goes down. Spinning comes through as the Nar is going to knock 2 out, but Yeheb is going crazy. Will get taken down, but the Zillion ultimate is there to keep him alive for the time being. Going back onto Veneris, and another shutdown comes through. And Zeal White goes crazy and goes 4-for-0 in that team fight.
Yeah, and I love to hear that Zeal White, last game they caught so much flack from us for playing this sort of, really basic level team composition with this Orianna Malphite. This time they bring out instead the Zillion, they bring out the Kindred, and they bring out the Gnar. These are all champions that are a lot more difficult, in my opinion, to execute, but they also have a higher ceiling for flexibility in these team fights, and it was demonstrated really, really well there by Zeal White. And we spoke in the Champion Select about Aquatic Bear taking the Gragas as sort of this counter matchup to the Kindred, but Kappa 1 doing a really nice job of waiting it out, waiting out the use of the Lamb's Respite to be able to, give it a big meaning there. And then also I Win saving his ultimate as well to layer it onto Yeheb later so he can feel safe to jump in. So just from an execution standpoint, we're seeing a much higher level of play in this game for Zeal White. And, all across the board for the carries on the side of Zeal White, we do see 1 item completed. And it's almost an even game here at 20 minutes in, whereas last time by 20 minutes, we were already talking about what was going to happen in the next game.
Absolutely. I mean, the gold is still pretty even, but if you take a look at just the game state overall, you know, already on soul point, and this dragon is going to be spawning in 3 minutes and 45 seconds here. It's a bit later than in game one, but Zeal White came. They were mad. They took it personally.
Yeah, and I think I want to give some respect to them for being willing to stick with the champions that they know that their players are really talented on. Zyland is not wanting to hook himself under the turret, but it looks like this Rift Herald is going to get a charge off, so that should be mid lane going over to Zeal White, which is huge for their map control. Not sure if they can get another charge off or not. Looks like it will not.
Yeah, no second charge for Shelly, but 4 members strong in the mid lane for Zeal White. And I'm really surprised that Nick hasn't really been able to get anything done in this game on this Aurelia. Yeah, up 20 farm, feeling good in that aspect of it, but just kind of not able to find solo kills in the side lane, which is quite concerning for the Aurelia.
And even in the last team fight, Nick Laws, he hit a really nice ultimate onto multiple members, but just, not being able to take advantage of it again because Kappa 1 was able to lay down the Lamb's Respite. So, yes, Nick Laws got onto the back line, but not being able to make a difference there. And, again, Devious List just keeping himself safe enough.
Iwin could be in trouble here as well. Have to burn the flash to get out as Aquatic Bear, and the kid, we're running him down. Now, Zylandis trying to aggress forward here, and 4 members of Sensei Squad are in this top lane. Again, Nick's on an island in this bottom lane.
Yep, and both top laners, they do have teleports available. Assuming there's a Meganar, both of them also have the ability to cancel each other's teleports. So we'll see if they want to do anything there. But right now, just getting a little bit of a standoff around the Baron. It looks like the vision was, now taken over by Zeal White, which is nice for them, trying to force, maybe trying to force something into the river. But still more turret, or rather, tied-in turrets, my bad. Both teams with the same amount, so pretty accurate. There's not as much standing gold left on the map. Zeal White doing a nice job of taking down that bottom lane turret to even that one up a little bit more, and looks like both teams kind of happy to let us enter a little bit of a lull state here. As Devious List maybe could have had a nice opportunity there, but multiple items now completed on the side of most of the carries in this game. Kind of interesting from the Ash seeing the Mortal Reminder coming out as that second item, but I guess makes sense for sure against the Samira, who's rushing the shield bow, and then also against the Kindred ult as well. So some interesting choices coming out here.
Yeah, and it's going to be explosive here as 50 seconds left on this potential Mountain Soul for Zeal White, and you can see Aquatic Bear use that smite, but does have another charge, so will be up for the objective. But Veneris is in this top lane, does have the TP available. I believe now Veneris has actually upgraded all of the abilities, so keep an eye out for Victor in this team fight. Does have 1,000 gold in the bank right now, so we'll see if anything comes through here. Everfrost is going to find 2 for the time being, as now Devious aggressing onto the kid, but there's not too much damage from the Gnar so far, at least. Zeal White able to walk into this bottom lane river though pretty easily, and we'll see if there's any fight to come through. Blast going out by Aquatic Bear, and this looks to be all Zeal White for the time being. Oh my gosh, look at the damage from Veneris. So much coming from that Victor Death Ray, and now Aquatic Bear could be in trouble here. Gonna buy some time, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is gonna land onto Devious List. In the backline it goes. The Meganar goes onto 1 or 2, actually. Devious could be in trouble. Has to flash out to safety, and now Victor is running them down with the Chaos Storm, causing chaos in the backline. Zahaib is gonna get both of those revive ultimates coming through here, diving in the backline. What's gonna be 1 already, but shut down very quickly by Veneris, and it is still 4 members strong for Zeal White versus 3 for Sensei. We'll see if they can have anything to say about this, but the dragon is started up and it is melting quickly. Zylandis zoning out Aquatic Bear very effectively here, and the Mountain Soul will just be going over to Zeal White. Now Aquatic Bear caught out by that dredge line and will just go down for free.
And that fight had so many twists and turns, right, Chains? At first, it looked so bad for Zeal White. They were running away with such low health bars on every single member of their team. But then once again, Kappa 1 able to use the Lamb's Respite to be able to keep his team alive just long enough. Again, once again, we see a little bit of, not the most ideal layering of the ultimates, with Yahabe having that chrono shift on his, on top of him at the same time as the Kindred, but it doesn't end up mattering because, they're able to survive the initial burst of damage. Aquatic Bear, again, not saving that explosive cask to be able to do what it's supposed to do, which is counter the Kindred ultimate. And even though Yahabe does end up going down after jumping in, the damage is already done. And that's one of the other, beauties of having a Kindred on your team is sort of having this second AD carry, having this second win condition, so that even when the Samir is dead, there's still a lot of DPS left in the tank for Zeal White.
And the one thing I just want to looking back at this game, Aquatic Bear did take a lot of those kills. Now the kid could be in trouble here. Oof, wow, somehow Matrix his way out of that dredge line with the shield, but whoa, okay. So either way, the Baron is up and both of these teams are posturing around this top side of the map. We'll see what happens if anyone opts to go for it. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to find the mark on to iWin, now knocked up, but we'll use the Chrono Break for the time being. And we'll see if the rest of the team is available. Teleport's coming in here as iWin will flash away to safety. As now Devious Lisk is in. Wants some action, but the cask will be used to delay any push from Zeal White for the time being as they set their sights onto the Baron. We'll see if they opt to go for it here as it is started up now.
They do it really fast with the Samira as well as the Kindred. They are going to burn it down.
Yeah, here we go. As it is about 6k right now. Aquatic Bear does not have the smite yet. It is up really, really soon. 3k. Does he want to go for the steal? He looks for it. 2k. Do they have what it takes? Goes in and will get the steal. Aquatic Bear steals the Baron and goes golden. We'll see now the fight ensuing as Atlantis goes down on the other side. So much damage coming through as Devious Lisk will fall as well. And this looks like it could be the turnaround. A triple kill comes through for Veneris as Nick Laws is going to take down Kappa 1. And have they done it? They get iWin. This could be the quadra kill coming through for Veneris. But iWin is too fast and is running for the hills. A 4-for-1 in favor of Sensei squad as the Baron will go over as well due to the heroics from Aquatic Bear.
And it all looked good until it didn't for Zeal White. They have the setup on the Baron. They're able to burn it down so quickly, but that is the reason why you never coin flip as Baron, a choice to take the Baron against a team that has a jungler like Gragas, obviously going to be able to get over the wall with the body slam, and just lack of respect from that by Zeal White. And I want to go back even a little bit further from before they started the Baron. Veneris was down there in that bot lane, matched up against Devious Lisk, who had the teleport available. That was a moment that for Zeal White, you want to be able to force a fight, but instead it was iWin being too far pushed up in the mid lane, getting caught out, and then, from there on, Zeal White is always going to be behind in that situation because as Nick Law's in trouble, though.
Oh, Nick could be in trouble here. It has to go in. Depth Charge is going to knock him up as Meganar comes through. And yeah, that's just going to be a kill coming through for Devious Lisk. And now 45 seconds left until Nick respawns again. And the kid could be in trouble as Kappa is chasing him down, but does not want to chase too far into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and remember, the Mountain Soul did go over to Zeal White prior to that Baron play, so, Zeal White will have that for themselves for the rest of this game, whereas the Baron is going to be, just this temporary buff. They did already take it off of Nick Laws, which definitely takes away a little bit of the split push pressure there, but Kappa 1?
Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to find one, but yeah, Aquatic Bear just throwing the cask out, trying to find a pick and knock one of the members into their team, but unfortunately, not going to find anything here. Now, Veneris and Devious are going to be going at it here. Damage traded about equal for now.
Yeah, and Victor just getting so powerful as he starts to scale up, already at that 3.5 item mark with the Zanya's Hourglass to be able to keep himself safe as well. And, Devious Lisk, it has built some tank, but it's as you can see, it's pretty much, other than that one null magic mantle, it's pretty much exclusively in the way of armor to deal with Nick Lol. So still going to be taking a lot from the Victor in the side lane. And, for Sensei squad here, being the Baroned up team, you would like them to be able to you would like to see them be able to get up to these turrets and utilize some of those Baron minions, but they haven't been able to do so far. So even though that was we had a kind of a poor sequence of events there for Zeal White, losing out on the Baron and then the fight afterwards, they have been able to, cut their losses from that pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, a 4.5K gold lead for Sensei Squad right now. The purple, they're not wearing purple anymore as the Baron has expired, but the Elder is spawning in 30 seconds. This is going to be the big point of contention for this game. Whoever gets this Elder could potentially convert it into an end. And this is going to be important. So we shall see what happens here, as so far, Zeal White does have the inside track and are able to get in. Elder spawning in 10 seconds as Sensei Squad tries to run in, tries to make their way in. As Aquatic Bear is going to get stunned up. Everfrost is used, and they're just trying to push mid. They're trying to distract Zeal White from what they can, from what is sitting in front of them, which is this big Elder. And this could be, an Elder would definitely turn the tides. So we'll see what happens. Devious stepping forward really far here as the flash comes through, and now could be in trouble. It's going in. Nicola is going to miss the ultimate, but this is a lot of damage coming through. Yahabe is taking really low as Aquatic Bear is trying to do what they can. Cancels out on the Yahabe dash, and this could be big damage from Matrix Shadow, but Yahabe goes back in. Will get shut down pretty quickly here, and now iWin is going at it with Nicola as the stun comes through. Is the bomb enough? Yes, it is, to take down the Aurelia, and so far it is 3 versus 2 in favor of Sensei Squad, with health bars are critical right now. Do they want to start up this dragon? It looks like they do here, as Matrix does have the shield bow. Now iWin will have to recall, TPing back in. We'll see. I don't know if they can actually do this.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the damage, so they just have to run away.
Yeah, no, there's not enough damage, and with iWin and Devious List still here to be able to threaten, they're not able to take it down. No jungler on either side either, which just makes it really, really risky in terms of trying to ensure that your team is the one to get that last hit. Obviously, Zeal White learning their lesson about that one earlier on in this game. So, these team fights just really going back and forth, really hard to predict. Again, over a 5K gold lead for Sensei Squad, so they should be able to have the advantage here. But, it's really just, to me, it's really those, those ultimates, those high impact ultimates from the Zillion as well as the Kindred that have made Zeal White look like they have a little bit more gold than they do. But here we go.
Sensei Squad just going to hit the Elder Dragon, and Zeal White is caught with their pants down, it seems. 5,000 health. Does Kappa 1 have what it takes to get the steal here? No, gonna get stunned up as the Rakan is gonna go into engage 1K as the dragon will go down to Sensei Squad. One goes down in Nick in the back line's gonna find a double kill for Veneris, and this should be the game as a triple kill comes through for Veneris. 4 dead. It is only Xylandis left to watch the kingdom burn as the rest of Sensei Squad goes into the mid lane to try and push this down. We'll see if they should be able to end here. 28 seconds still on Yahabe. And I do imagine that this should be a relatively free end with only the Nautilus to defend. It's very, very hard for Nautilus to wave clear.
Yeah, they're going to get the inhibitor for sure at first, and also, nice job to be able to protect the minions. Actually, I would like to see them tank the entire turret there, but I don't know if they're going to go for the end. Certainly, they have really high health bars, but looking a little bit lower on the side of mana, and it looks like instead they're going to go towards that Baron. Should be able to get that one for free, although Kappa 1 coming out of the base now, but with the proper vision, this should be all Sensei Squad for this Baron.
Yeah, I think they should be able to take this with relative ease here, especially with the Aurelia, the Victor, and the Ashe, to just do damage, very high DPS, and they should be able to just back and reset, and then potentially end the game on this next push. The Elder Dragon, still is just now about halfway up, so definitely have the opportunity to get one more push in, one more fight with that buff, and try to take the game with that.
Yeah, and Zeal White have definitely cleaned up a lot of the mistakes that they had during the laning phase last game. They've shown some better team fighting, but in that particular situation with the Elder Dragon still being up, just, like you said, Rychain's really no other way to say it other than they're caught with their pants down. They, are all in the mid lane grouped up together when this objective is still on the map, and you normally you would see both teams kind of rushing towards the objective that's up like Sensei squad did, but did not occur for Zeal White. And after that, after the Elder Drake goes down, you just have this huge disadvantage with that execute in particular. So Baron and Elder, if you can't end it with these two, you probably can't end it at all. So this is probably going to be the final push here from Sensei squad. I mean, it is hard to just straight up force it, but they are really strong right now.
Yes, they do have the Baron up super minion in this mid lane. They're wearing the Elder Dragon for a little bit of time more, and Aquatic Bear just going to go in onto Yahabe. We go here as the Elder Dragon will take him down. As Aquatic Bear 1 HP will go golden, but Yahabe is going to be kept alive for the time being, but will go down as Veneris goes legendary. Kappa 1 is going to go down as well here, and Devious is trying to do what they can, but the Mega Nar's not going to hit anyone, and Nicolas is going to dash out of the tower, but it doesn't matter because one more is enough to take him down. I win. And Devious Lisk are in their fountain trying to do what they can, but there is not much to do against the double super buffs here. And actually, maybe they're trying to do what they can here. They're doing a lot of damage. And this could be in trouble here as Devious is going to find the kill onto the Kid. Oh my gosh, they're trying and they're keeping this game alive. As Veneris and Matrix are trying to end the game. They're going to get this top lane inhibitor tower, but it looks like that's going to be about it. And somehow Devious and I win, make the hero play and stop stop this game from ending.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mentioned in terms of their ability to just force this game to end, especially with the Baron available. It's kind of the cleaner move to push up at least one other wave with Nick Lulz or even Veneris to be able to get that sort of split focus to come out from Zeal White, but that's not the case here, and so the game is going to continue to go on. It is still about a 10k gold lead, and obviously this Victor in particular not getting any weaker, so it's so very difficult still here for Zeal White, but anytime that they are able to keep themselves in the game is a win for them because they are so far behind here, and we definitely expected it to end. So it's going to be about 2 minutes, and then the next Elder will be up. I believe the Elder should now be expired for Sensei squad. So it definitely, the game is not dead, especially with both the Nexus turrets available. There's not really any chance for a backdoor, with the mid lane being the inhibitor that's down as well. So we're definitely going to see at least one more team fight before this game is finished.
Oh, I know, I see Matrix Shadow try to look for a sneaky little pick there with that Enchantress arrow, but it did go wide. And look at Nyx in this top lane, pushing in. They're going for another 4-1 situation here as, I think at this point, Devious can actually match with Nyx in the side lane. It seems like Devious has been kind of a menace as we went later on to this game, but here we go. We're going to get the 1v1 as the ultimates are going to come through. As Devious taking really low, going to go Mega soon, and we'll get stunned up. Oh, but does not get the Mega into the wall. Nyx is going to flash forward, trying to get the dash, but can't find it. And yeah, Nyx, I mean, that Bork was doing so much work in that 1v1 there, and now we're going to see Aquatic Bear. Maybe look for something. Pop that Predator, but for the time being, it's just a 4v4 in this bottom lane. Nyx hitting this top lane inhibitor, and this will go down here as that's going to be 2 inhibs down now for Zeal White.
No grievous wounds from Gnar, which means that in the extended trades, the Aurelia is always going to come out on top because she can just continue to hit you, hit the minions, and just keep healing up. But Zylandis,
they're going for it here as the Depth Charge is going to hit onto Veneris here. The Dredge Line is not going to be tanked, but I have no idea what the heck that was. Kind of a desperation play as now iWin is in the middle of 4. Going to go down. A double kill comes through now for Veneris. And again, Nyx and Devious are going at it. Under the tower we go here. Nice dodge out on the W. And Nyx is going to find the solo kill. Now trying to go on to Kappa 1. Finds another one on the Kappa 1 here. But actually, Veneris is going to get credit for that and stays alive somehow. Yahabe trying to make the hero play 1v5, but those are not favorable odds. Still going to get one back, but this will be the game, and Sensei squad should be able to take this here. They have the wave pushing up mid. They will just take this inhibitor and end the game. 13 seconds on anyone, and that anyone is Zylandis. That's pretty much no one in this wave, in the defense scenario, and the Nexus is under siege, will go down, and Sensei squad takes the series in 2-0 fashion.
Sensei squad, we haven't seen them so far in the CCS regular season, but if they get their first chance on the stage and they show us tonight why they deserve to be in this league, league, why they're a team that we should watch out for. Taking the 2-0 victory, this second game not as clean as the first one from Sensei squad, but at the end, they are able to pull it all together, and they are able to win this one. Specifically, thanks to Riot. Of course, we can't see the stats again, but Veneris on the victor stands out. I mean, look at that KDA that he's able to sport. 15, 1, and 7 is absolutely huge. Coming out from the mid laner there of Sensei squad, so really impressive start to the league for him as well.
Yeah, and I can see the numbers. I can't see the champions that are assigned to each number, but I can only imagine that the 40,500 damage is to Veneris here. Anyone else, the next closest was 28,000. So, significantly out damaging anyone in this game. Veneris putting on a show and giving the people what they want to watch.
Yeah, so just definitely a really nice performance by Veneris. Nicola also doing really well in that side lane, a little bit more in game 1 than game 2, but Sensei squad definitely showing that they are a team that we should be worried about. Other teams should be worried about here, specific in this Thursday conference of the CCS. So we're excited to see them on stage as well in the future, but. Yeah, on the side of Zeal White, now they're 1-1 after winning in week 1, taking this really hard loss in week 2 after making some roster switches. So we'll have to see, as the team kind of steps back, if that's something that they decide they want to continue with, or if that was just kind of a botched move on their part. But a nice series for sure, fun to watch, even though that it was a little bit one-sided, and excited to see what these teams can do with the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. A very entertaining series coming out here. Congratulations to Sensei Squad for taking it into O fashion. Very strong showing for them. But that is going to be all for us tonight for the CCS. Join us next week. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. That's gonna be it for the game, but we're gonna do a post-game interview. We're gonna take a break, and we'll be back in a few
oops.
minutes. All right. Well, welcome back to the post game interview here. We're happy to be joined today by Veneris, who did have an awesome performance for Sensei Squad in this series going up against Zeal White. So, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, Veneris.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, you played in this series. You had the Syndra in the first game, going up against Oriana, and then second time, getting the victor against Zillion. It seemed like you were able to perform really, really well throughout the game, but especially in the lane phase. How do you feel about your performance today?
I think it could have been a lot better, um, especially in the first game. Actually, in the first game, I did have an issue where my settings did reset, so I had to like move around my settings while I was in the lane. But I think like what I could have done better is probably get deeper vision into the enemy jungle because I had priority for both games for the most part in a lot
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
stages.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and definitely that deep vision was a huge part of this series, especially around the objectives, which were super, super important. And, speaking of the objectives, in that second game, we saw, your jungler Aquatic Bear able to come through there for you all with the huge Baron steal. I mean, first of all, what was kind of the reaction to that when it happened? I'm curious if you all expected it or if what the communication was like there.
The communication for that was just that that was an option. What we were actually just going to do is just, regardless, just fight right after they smite the Baron if they were to take it, because they were in a huge choke point, and I know that like my ult would just kill them all, or even just my laser at that point because I was just holding ult for Samira the entire time.
Yeah, and a little bit more about just kind of your relationship with Aquatic Bear as a jungler. We definitely saw some mid lane ganks coming out in the first game, as well as the second one. But what does he like to play with as a player, and how does he kind of support you as a mid laner?
Um, i- as a player, he's always looking for things to do around the map. If he's not looking to invade, he's looking to gank. Um, he does have he does put down great vision around me. Um, I don't even think it's just to keep me safe. I think it's literally just to go into the jungle. But yeah, we keep each other warded, and then I know that like if he wants to do something, it's better for me just to go there and help him rather than just stay in middle because I don't know. I just think the reward is a lot higher than just staying there.
Yeah,
So.
and yeah, certainly. And so in that second game, you were able to get your hands on Victor. I believe it was banned in the first series, so you made it look really good. Can you talk a little bit about Victor as a champion in this meta, or kind of what that brings?
Yeah, I mean, I've always played Victor even when he was really weak. I think he's strong, obviously, right now because of the pre-season changes. Um, I think a lot of players just have to understand his limitations, and then as well as his ceiling, like in terms of like how much damage he can actually output, rather than playing super scared and lasering from a mile away, or just going really close and just dying
Yeah,
because.
well,
Yeah, because
sorry
the
to cut you
crown
off.
thing. Sorry, I was gonna say because the crown thing is kind of bait, to be honest. If you don't know what you're doing, because you're not
Yeah,
gonna deal damage and just die.
makes sense. And you definitely walked the line pretty well in that last game. Had a great performance, and we saw that you came up with the 15 kills. So obviously you got that to prove it. So, once again, Veneris, thank you so much for joining us. I just have one more question.
Hmm.
Sensei Squad, this is your first time, your first actual series in the CCS so far, and you got to be on stream with this 2-0 victory. So for the new fans that you've obviously gained from this stream tonight, what can you tell us about Sensei Squad in terms of, how long have you been playing together and what are your goals for CCS this split?
I've only played with Matrix and Nick for the time that I've been here, and a little stint somewhere else. But I played with, the kid in Aquatic Bear for a long time. We have really good communication, and we understand like what the three of us want in terms of when we're playing the game or even before the game. And I mean, we're just improving as a team. We've only started scrimming a lot more recently, and I think like if we can fix a lot of the errors we had in the first game, as well as not trolling in the last game where we were supposed to end the game, um, I think we could be a pretty good team.
Yeah, I mean that's always obviously a great place to be when you're, kind of have a dominant 2-0 victory and you still feel like there's room for improvement. So we're excited to see, what more this Sensei Squad team has to show us as the CCS season goes on. And one more time, thank you so much, Veneris, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for having me. Have a great night, guys.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this post-game interview again for the CCS. I'm Elsa the Queen, and I have been joined again by Rychain. Super happy to have Rychain's back this week. So we were all glad to hear his voice. But thank you so much for being here, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. We'll be back next Wednesday and Thursday, of course, for the CCS. We'll see you then.